And we are live. Good afternoon, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gym in a Crypto episode 363.
Oh yeah, 363.
There we go. Today is Thursday, March 14th, and I'm King.
And I'm Bitcoin Zay, and we are here to bridge the gap between cryptocurrency and the community Monday through Friday at 3-ish, our new time.
For sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. So today we have a guest. Joel Braithwaite is with us today to discuss ICO, STO, and blockchain regulation. I want to discuss his bio. He is the CEO of Braithwaite Legal LLC, which focuses on clients needing fintech and blockchain with SEC IRS experience. Focuses on startup ICO as an advisor and outside counsel. And also he is part of the complex tax litigation experience. He is a former partner with Cogent Law Group in DC and worked with a variety of matters with outstanding results for clients. Joel has previously served with the Office of the Attorney General for the District of Columbia, where he litigated commercial real estate tax assessment appeals. His portfolio of negotiated cases has exceeded $10 billion with settlements on individual property as high as $600 million. So welcome to the show, Joel Braithwaite. Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Joe.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
For sure. And Joe's he's not able to get the video up and going, folks. So if you're watching, you can listen in to him. And
just because I'm ugly, man. Just because I'm ugly, I don't want nobody to see my ugliness.
Good stuff. And today, of course, we have a lot of good stories coming to you today. We'll be talking about Bittrex and their IEO and how they decided to backpedal after the Gym and the Crypto report on it. Cryptocurrency community eyeing Tether after it changes terms of service, something we actually told you all that these exchanges do, like Bittrex has done literally overnight. SEC chairman highlights investor protection in regard to Bitcoin ETF, and Republican leader McCarthy proposes blockchain transparency in the government. But first, do we have a cryptic coin winner from yesterday?
Oh yeah, unfortunately we do not. Have a couple comments, but we're not in response to our question about the Bittrex IEO, which is a new development that they have with RAID, which we will discuss here shortly. So no winner today, but you will have a chance at the end of the show.
All right. And top story of the day, Bittrex breaking. Bittrex International scraps IEO amid controversy over crypto startup RAID.
Oh yeah,
there we go.
Ourselves a hand clap.
I'm about to choke laughing at this. I mean, we literally just covered this story yesterday and discussed how crazy it was that they were even doing that, and just what type of precedence is set. And it looks like after all this controversy from yesterday, the European cryptocurrency exchange Bittrex International decided to scrape its first initial exchange offering literally just hours before the RAID crypto token sale was scheduled to commence.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like what happened with what was it when Bitcoin segued 2x? Like literally a day before, hours before it was supposed to launch, everyone called it off. And that further highlights why we said this is wrong, because a company, a centralized player, has the ability to say, hey, we're going to do this. And then 5 minutes before they do it, or just hours before, as in this article, they call it off. But you know, it was blasphemous to begin with. That's like we literally covered this saying this is crazy that Bittrex is going to try to do it. They weren't to be trusted. And in my opinion, just because they're pulling back away from it, it doesn't mean all of a sudden you can trust them. If anything, they showed you their hand now. And next time they're just going to make sure they have a smoother rollout, if anything.
Yeah.
But what's going on with the story?
Yeah, they showed you who you are. Absolutely. Bittrex International, they actually tweeted out, which is interesting enough. You talk about trust. They said that trust and integrity are the most valuable assets of Bittrex International. That is the worst sentence I've ever heard from them. And they also stated, as a result of significant last-minute changes with RAID, blame it on RAID, we have canceled the IEO offering of the RAID token. We apologize for the inconvenience. We will provide a more complete statement shortly. That was at 9 a.m. this morning, which led to a flurry of retweets and laughs to people who were saying, hey, if you're going to do something that big with a, this is the first of its kind IEO offering, you should be ready, and you shouldn't have any last minute changes that are significant to the RAID token. So RAID had actually marketed itself as a way to give data ownership back to users using blockchain technology. And I'm sure they thought they would go through with this pretty smoothly. Unfortunately, did not happen, and they had to retract it. So This is another stain on Bittrex going forward because they've lost a lot of volume over the years, done some backdoor stuff with their regulations, and now we have them canceling an IEO. Very unprecedented.
It is crazy. Really quick, want to say hello to I See You Looking 1X. Said, wow, will I actually get to see my first live? That is correct. I See You Looking. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully we see you more often. What's going on, Antonio, Dylan, Darchinville, Paradigm Audio, Jamal J, Sergeant Crypto, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Oh, I See You Looking. So they've been watching in stealth mode. Why? Go ahead and smash that like and share, and welcome, Warrior.
And welcome. Yes.
But yeah, back to the story. I mean, Joe, what's your take on this? When you see these big companies or exchanges saying, hey, we're going to do ICO or IEO or whatever you have it, and then literally because of the feedback, really, which came from social media. I mean, you're talking about feedback which came from Twitter and the YouTube community in regards to cryptocurrency. They just canceled it. What are your thoughts on these exchanges doing these type of, I guess, coin offerings or exchange offerings in general? How do you feel about the way Bittrex went about it?
Well, that's actually a very interesting question you posed. You know, I think about other people in blockchain trying to do initial coin offerings or STOs or whatever the other things may be. And now Bittrex is standing in the gap and saying that they're going to be the issuer of the security. And how does that change if Bittrex is doing it as opposed to if anybody else is doing it? And how they're going to comply with all the various SEC type mandates and everything else like that. I don't know. It causes me some sort of concern because I'm like, who thought this was a good idea by then?
Right. Exactly. Like we said.
I mean, it's crazy though about how quick the community called it out. So for those who this is their first time watching, this is stuff we always tell people we're not trying to be negative Nancy's here, but we're being realistic. And realistically, in the cryptocurrency environment and the ecosystem right now, you are dealing with some businesses. A lot of businesses have already went under. And at this point, what it takes to survive, for some of them, they feel like they need to turn to that shrewd businessman or woman or company that they must be, where we all know when it comes to cryptocurrency, this ecosystem is about community. It's about open source. It's about sharing. It's about helping. So when I see things with this exchange saying, well, we're going to do this for, like, how would an IEO help the community? Right, I don't see a way where we can be like, oh, this is a great idea for the cryptocurrency community. I see another derivative on top of derivative, as we said.
And it kind of messed up Raid.
Right, and Raid was like, hey, got this stink on me now.
Yeah, exactly. So even if they went back and did, another type of fundraiser like ICO themselves, they got that stink on them now from Bittrex trying to push them out there and then retracting it. So I don't know all the what happened in the background, but this doesn't look good for either one.
Right. But you know what? Way to learn from your mistakes, though, Bittrex.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they stopped this before it happened, even though the cat might already be out the bed, because there has to be one or two other exchanges like, is this a way to make more money overnight? But you know what? We'll be honest and fair. Shout out to Bittrex for at least recognizing we are ODing right now on trying to get more money. I think we really got, because now I know they watch it. So, Bill, I think we really got them yesterday. If you watched it yesterday, we said, if they really wanted to do an IEO, their executive team could just pay for it themselves. I think one of the people at Bittrex heard that one. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there's like, Bill, he has a point. Like, why are we doing this?
It's a couple pairs of eyes that watch, I think.
But yeah, so pretty interesting to see. Next up, cryptocurrency community next eyes Tether after their website diluted their USD backing claims.
Yes, though.
That is correct. Developers behind stablecoin Tether have drawn scrutiny today, March 14th, after social media users noticed they had removed previous claims that the altcoin was fully backed by United States dollars. Before Bitcoin's they jumped into this, I want to point out exactly what this means. They literally changed their terms of service when no one was overnight. Bittrex does the same thing. This is our problem with some of these companies. Like, we have had this happen with Bittrex where they went from, oh, you can withdraw how many Bitcoins a day to when the price went up, oh, now you guys can only withdraw like 0.1 a day. Yeah. And this is like really like out the blue at 3 a.m. You just change your terms of service. Well, guess what? We already screenshotted the night before, but it looks like Tether may be doing the same thing here. What's going on?
Oh, yeah. Well, a few months ago, we actually discussed Tether and the Tether FUD that was going on. Well, it seems as though it was not FUD. It was actually true because they have come out and stated every Tether is always 100% backed by our reserve, which include traditional currency and cash equivalents. And
Well,
from time to time,
equivalents.
Yeah, I was gonna say equivalents, cash equivalents. And from time to time may include other assets and receivables from loans made by Tether to third parties, which may include affiliated entities. And if you are wondering what all of that means, they are now a fractional reserve bank.
Wow.
That is exactly what that means. What they mean when they say we may have the reserves based on loans. On your financial sheet at the end of quarter or at the end of a certain period, you can claim the loans that you made as money that's getting paid back.
So it's fake. It's literally fake money. It's fractional reserve.
It's fractional reserve, people.
Oh,
Here we go.
Well, people I would say people owe us $50 million, so we actually have it. It's like, no, people owe you that.
People owe you that, exactly. Which is
brilliant.
Which it shouldn't be, that big of a change in mindset, because just think of how our country is run. Banks only have to have 10% of their stated financials in cash in the bank. So if everybody wanted cash at the same time, they would be pretty much, down for the day. They'll have to shut down. So this is what Tether is going through right now. And I do want to give a big shout out, because between this story, between Coinbase with Neutrino,
you guys are making us look good.
All I got to say is the Twitter community is strong. If you are not on Twitter right now, let me just go ahead and give you an opportunity. Just sign up, just to follow Bitcoin people and crypto people, because that's literally what's made these changes. I mean, Bittrex, they stopped because of the Twitter community and Raid.
And YouTube, Tether, they watch it. Still YouTube.
Yep, Tether, Coinbase, Neutrino. So shout out to them. And Tether showed you who they are. Definitely a fractional reserve market from this point forward. So if you have Tether, you may want to look at either a different stable coin, or I would say you can wait to see if they clear it up, because that's exactly what happened.
Tether is great at clearing things up.
Great at clearing things up. So that's the news as it stands right now.
Joe, so how does this work in regards to regulation when it comes to these terms and services? So companies are allowed to say, hey, today we're doing this, or our Tether's worth $1 US, and then the next day they're allowed to say, well, it's worth a cash equivalent. Because I mean, a cash equivalent could be Ripple. Yeah. You could have a lot of Ripple and say we have these cash equivalents of $1 million US in the form of Ripple. So how does that work from a regulatory point of view?
That's actually, you're asking me a great question. I'm not sure it's a little bit out of my field. I do tax litigation and some of the other fun stuff. One of the things that really caught my eye in the story, I was looking at the prior tab. I guess you guys closed the tab out, and it was talking about on the side. I'm kind of getting involved in a little bit of politics and stuff like that on the side, and I realized how politicized crypto is getting. I remember back when I was with, I guess we'll call the name GBA, Government Blockchain Association, back in the day, as their head of their legislative piece. And I remember I was talking with someone, and we were talking about how blockchain could actually realize voting and help with actual democracy, right? In terms of everyone being able to participate on the blockchain, and you could see people's votes. You don't need to know who they are. You can know how they voted, and you'll be able to have real-time tally and everything else like that. And then somebody looked at me and she was like, yeah, but why do we want everybody voting? And it really clicked to me that crypto was replicating a lot of the inequities that we see in real life on the blockchain. While for us blacks in crypto, we were hoping that crypto would be somewhat different. Crypto had been actually replicating everything, and people really bit hard on the idea that libertarians could mean that they could not be racist or could not be prejudiced or not bring any of these other sorts of things in there. So as I see coin, what's that, CCN, or coin market cap getting politicized, I'm like, that's a political story with a political bent on it. Why am I reading that in coin market cap? And everyone's bleeding through the edges now. Now you'll be able to see their political stances actually develop into what should be discussions, the things that we are concerned about, like, hey, Tether, are there really a 1-to-1 US dollar for every, dime lent, or are we really looking at fractional reserve banking? Or I thought we were crypto and we're supposed to do better than that. And a lot of things in crypto have just been new snake oil almost. So that's kind of my overwhelming thing that I'm seeing in crypto time and time again. And it just doesn't surprise me, just kind of like the college bribe scandal that's going on right now. Not surprised at all. And crypto is a place that allegedly would want this sort of meritocracy, the best ideas and everything else like that. But again, it's bleeding through the edges, man. I keep seeing the real world replicated on the blockchain.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and to be fair, especially when it comes to things like some of these companies, Tether and stuff, from what I've seen, I think it's a big push of already corporate professionals leaving their full-time job, honestly trying to get rich quick. I mean, we personally know people who, mid to late 40s already, willing to do.
Stop talking about me.
Oh, yeah. But
go ahead.
Some people come with the right mindset, and then some people come and they leave their profession or whatever because they already have money. They have the free time, and then they come over here with money with the get rich quick scheme. Again, we've seen some professionals come over and jump on like 20 different projects all at once. And it's like, well, you work in 20 projects, but we're supposed to believe what you said, that they're all the greatest. So to kind of piggyback what you said about some of the things you see with Tether, I think this is a product of that. It's not necessarily the community. These are the people that came over with some money and enough money to do their marketing and to start their fake companies and to push out more fake derivatives of crypto so they can get rich quick, because that's what a lot of this looks like. I mean, you think about what was it, Bittrex? There was no reason for an IEO but to make even more money. Yeah. It's no reason, because no one wants to own an exchange. We want to get rid of them eventually. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, going along with that, Joel, got a few questions for you so we can get it going. We've discussed, like you said, your feelings about the market overall. And one of the things you do is ICOs, but one of the new developments are STOs. I would like your comment about STOs and how do you think they'll be regulated going forward?
Well, one of the things that I saw in the initial was a kind of a push to kind of get away from regulations, get away from everything. I remember I was talking with someone at the SEC. I think it was SEC Commissioner Jackson. And in our discussions, I was like, look, I'm a pretty smart guy. I was like, but I'm having a real hard time transferring from my IRS specialty into securities, because there's not a lot of guidance, and these security attorneys walk around like what they do is rocket science. And the one thing I know about the law, nothing that we do in the law is rocket science. So as I see, everyone's burst into the space, and these lawyers, I mean, I saw people picking up, $250,000 retainers to do work on an ICO or STO, whatever the case may be, and burning through it in days.
Oh, give me 250. I get through that real quick.
Yeah,
No. But then when you were looking at the results, like, okay, so what did they provide to the client? The client, I didn't think the client was any better off than they walked in the door. And I was looking at it, and I was just like, well, this can't be the case. I mean, all the money is being spent, and you saw them and you still saw what they were looking for. And at the base of all these securities laws is really some simple stuff. It's really like, please disclose what the risks are, and it's really good when I come across really good lawyering and I'm able to read someone, Grayscale and some of these other people, early ATF people come to mind, where you could read the disclosure and you'd be like, yo, that's a risk. I see it, or I could lose all my money. And, and I was looking at these other people, and you were looking at, remember how there was the whole conversation early on in crypto. Oh, well, if you do this, it's not a security, utility token. And there had to be some legal advice, like some people who sat there and said, this is utility, therefore it's not a security, or whatever it is that they were saying. And these people paid these people a lot of money for this advice. And then the SEC subpoenas came. And then everybody was a security, because the SEC was like, hold on, who's going to make you the money? Oh, well, if you know who's going to make you the money, yes, a centralized person, or we could go tap him or her, and him or her should have disclosed to you that you could have lost everything, right? So basically, I see it over and over again. I've seen it in a bunch of different places where stupid money is trying to be spent. And I abhor when I see people trying to go too fast for the regulations and everything else like that, in terms of like, hey, if you only think these things are going to make money, and then when we look at all these blockchain projects and we think about the successful ones, and you're like, well, what successful ones are you talking about? right? The ones that with real products are doing real things. And it shows you how bad the lawyering was, the legal advice was. So the legal profession is going to have to take a huge hit on the reputation because we are the ones that caused a lot of the problems.
Oh yeah, it was SEC said 200. We didn't get a piece of that. Everybody, we want a piece of this. Yeah. Speaking of the SEC, next article: SEC chairman highlights investor protection in regard to Bitcoin ETF. Cointelegraph, hand clap for this photo again. Oh yeah, you all have the best artists in the crypto community. What's going on with SEC now in this ETF?
Oh yeah, well it looks like Jay Clayton. He's actually discussing
back in the news.
Back in the news, the second day in a row. He claims to be neutral toward digital currencies, saying that he is not a spokesperson against the asset.
Like he want to be. But don't throw tomatoes at me, people.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand he's basically stated he's concerned with potential for manipulation associated with the crypto space, and he wants to guarantee investor protection by stating, "What I'm concerned about at the moment is if it can be reasonably demonstrated that the underlying trading is generally not manipulated. It's happening on reliable venues with good rules, and that custody is something we can feel comfortable about." So he's basically waiting for the infrastructure to be in place to basically mirror, like you said, Joel, what we already have.
Mirror and monitor.
So how do you feel about this this statement from Jay Clayton from the SEC?
Well, you know, the SEC got a very specific purpose, right? I've met some of the commissioners and everything else like that. And their purpose is to protect us so that we can say, well, SEC, why were you asleep at the wheel? Why is big government not protecting us? We went and lost all our money, and you let these fraudulent people come into the market. You didn't look at their offering statements. You didn't look at these things, and you didn't ask these questions that would have protected us from being fleeced. Right? Think about how much money was lost in crypto in terms of ICOs and everything else like that. Think about what ICOs you bought with the best information you had that you thought were going to go to the moon. You thought they were going to be successful projects, and you're probably still holding that coin today. And think about what your prospects are for recovering those projects, for recovering and actually delivering on the products that they raised $100 million, $200 million, $50 million, $10 million, $4 million, $6 million for. And so I think the SEC is right to be cautious because until the market matures, but unfortunately, you know, it's the cowboys that ruined it for everybody, right? The people that went out there with the get-rich-quick schemes and they weren't really conscientious. You know, I see some real products being developed by one company I could think about, Veritasium. I see them actually doing stuff. You can actually use their crypto to purchase gold and purchase other assets, and you could do all sorts of fun things with Vader, and you could actually gain exposure. And besides that, in terms of a coin that's really developing an ecosystem, and you can really see it come into life with all the things that are supposed to come to, not saying that there aren't other financial and fintech products that are not doing the same. But the one thing that I know is that for these guys, well, Reggie Middleton is the real deal. And you're able to see him actually working towards doing something with his project in a way that we wish a lot of the other coins and other things would really be doing, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you think the traditional market, let's say the stock market, is that free from manipulation?
I don't know.
So exactly. So it's one of my things where when it comes to the SEC and they're saying things like, we can reasonably demonstrate that the underlying trading is generally not manipulated. The only way they can reasonably demonstrate that cryptocurrency trading is not being manipulated is if they have their hands in everything. And to me, that kind of goes against the whole reason for cryptocurrency. It's about freedom and being a private citizen again. And it's them, the government, SEC here saying, well, until we know for sure, until we can take a look at all these transactions and everything, and we have a grip on it, then we don't feel comfortable enough for you all to have an ETF. That's what I kind of get, the gist I get from it. And my thing is that they haven't figured out the traditional market yet. I mean,
I could agree with that.
We just had a Theranos girl. What's her name again?
I forgot.
Yeah, whoever did the Theranos, who scammed everybody in that multi-billion-dollar scam. I mean, that just happened a couple of years ago, or whatever. This is, or actually, it's ongoing. It went September 2018 and went defunct. So it's one of the things where I feel like it's a money grab. I literally feel like it's a money grab. I know everybody says, well, they want to protect you from this. All the stats say there's nothing protected against right now.
I would think that you would right if you were right. If any of the damn coins that we had purchased had returned value to us in the way that the coin was supposed to operate and everything else like that. If we were sitting here on any crypto success stories, if we were sitting here right now talking about, hey, I bought this coin and they said that they were going to do this and they said they were going to make money in this way and they're going to return the value to the coin in this way, and I'm just hard pressed to think about one of those coins that delivered on those promises. Right. I think one of the things that's really important to think about, it's when we think about the market cap of any company and then what the company is worth, those are two different considerations. The assets of the company and the company's market caps are two independent things that have absolutely nothing to do with each other. Right. Because the underlying assets the company owns, the IP and all that sort of fun stuff, that is not reflected in the stock market price, nor can it ever be reflected in the stock market price. So the biggest lie that they ever told us was that buying a part of a company's stock gave you some level of equity or ownership in the company, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. Because the the stock price or the coin price is always reflective of how the people in the market feel about the coin. It's almost sentiment being measured. It's never the equity of the company and what the company is really worth and what the value of the company is. And I think that was kind of one of the major lies perpetuated in blockchain, was that they capitalized on the misunderstanding that people thought that equity in the company meant that as the company did well, that brought return to value to the coin. And those two things are not linked, and though they're not related, there's not probably a way to look at a company that's doing well, making money hand over fist, making trillions of dollars, and that being reflected in the coin price or the stock price, except if the market also is bullish on the coin, which is separate and distinct if the company is making money hand over fist.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of the crypto community learned a good lesson about that over the ICO market from 2016 to 2018. Right. A lot of people found out the hard way that the value of the company does not come from the price of the coin. And I wish more people would have listened when we stated that
used
about
to say that
Ripple
all the time.
And we used to tell people, and they were like, well, what do you mean? It's like, well, there's a company, and then they're selling you a coin, which could be a utility coin, could not be, it could be a security. That's the difference. So when you're buying these coins, you're not necessarily getting a piece of the company, even though Binance is sort of close. Qcoin shares, they're close, but yeah, you're right. That value doesn't come from the company.
And a lot of it again was literally get rich quick. And this part of the get rich quick was from everybody from 13 years old to 100. You know, it was one of those things where no one cared to even, and this is, you know, looking at cryptocurrencies is giving me a better picture of the world. Everyone, whether they know or not what's really going on, they know there are tools out there for them to do the research to find out the answers. People either don't want to know the answers or they're too lazy to find out. And they're almost, I feel like sometimes people are hoping something goes wrong. They either want to make their money and get rich quick, or they hope something goes horribly wrong so they can sue and make money. But the whole thing is like, how am I going to make money? Are you all going to go times 100 in 3 weeks and all of a sudden I'm an overnight millionaire? I'm a genius in the room. Yeah. Or are you guys going to have a delay in your roadmap, which may be intentional or unintentional, but because of that have me upset because I don't understand projects and investing. And go to the government and say, all right, somebody got to pay up. I said in 3 weeks, I want to be a millionaire. I started off with $30. Somebody's paying me this week. All right, that's all I know.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And one more question for you, Joel, before we move on to our last story. What is the official stance of the SEC on cryptocurrency? I know some people have heard things and maybe heard different stuff. What is the official stance on ICOs and cryptocurrency?
Well, I think that the SEC's official stance is caution. It's caution because of the ease with which the crypto is digested. You know, and the ease, you know, it's never been easier for us to access these products, right? But it's also never been harder to have oversight over 10 trillion different coins. And I think that for the SEC is just looking at all the ways that it goes wrong, all the ways that it predictably goes wrong, the exit scams, there are not enough devs going around to actually create the products that these people are promising, with the exception, again, of a coin like Veritasium that you see is actually putting out products, that's actually creating the AI, is actually doing the things it's supposed to do. And I'm of course you see I'm high on our Veritasium. I don't own any Veritasium, and they're not my client or anything like that, but I'm very high on what I saw Reggie Middleton do in terms of actually doing what he said he was going to do, in terms of actually building out products and everything else like that, where you could actually use the coin to do things that he said that he was going to create. And you know, we should probably do a better job of identifying more projects like that, where they walk the walk, they did what they said they were going to do, and highlight them, because those success stories, we need them, because it's going to be even harder, I think, for us to convince the SEC that more companies are going to perform like Veritasium than, say, pick a coin.
So it's want to go to the comments here. Got some good comments. First, shout out to Paradigm Audio, reminded us of the name of the Theranos. That was Elizabeth Holmes. Pretty funny comment. Paradigm Audio said Elizabeth Holmes took money from taking money peeps. Happy to love her just a bit. You're right. It's pretty funny. Basically, he's saying Elizabeth Holmes took money from people who are used to taking money from other people. So that is actually very true. So that's a pretty funny thing. And this one is to you, Joe. One of our Warriors Dry Dessert said, if you complain about crypto projects not delivering, you assume that all of them promise to deliver in 6 to 12 months rather than years. Some did, but as he said, like Vitalik and Ethereum, some will take longer. So this person, which is a good point, they're saying that, hey, there's not enough time for some of these projects to deliver right now when people are just looking at the price.
I'm with you. But there are some things that never needed a coin to begin with.
Yeah. Oh, that's very true.
Absolutely.
That is absolutely true.
Right. And then there's some people, their technology and the coins that they're creating aren't better than Bitcoin. So they could have just used Bitcoin to do everything that they wanted to do. And that actually should have probably been the smarter approach, using using Bitcoin. And as opposed to spinning off all these other coins, you know, I mean, we got a real graveyard of coins. We have a real graveyard of coins. And I think about the good use cases of crypto that we never really got to. I mean, like your cap table, you know, a company that uses crypto for its cap table so that everyone understands and it can interact with the cap table, understand everyone's ownership. Everything is open, so you can really understand what's happening with these shares of the company. I mean, that's one of the primary use cases, you know, and you see people like CapTable.io and stuff like that who are in the crypto space, and they have the run room, they're well capitalized, they're doing a lot of good things. And I think at the end of the day, those are the sorts of things that crypto or blockchain, we can see those use cases and really appreciate those use cases. You know, the one use case of blockchain for the government. I mean, I see what you're about to talk about next, but I'll just say, you know, is the Pentagon and this Department of Defense and everyone really saying that they lost track of $5 trillion?
Are you asking, or you say that? What's that?
Yeah,
because
rhetorical. I mean, they lost track of $5 trillion.
No, for sure. I think this would be I think blockchain the government, not a government ran blockchain, but an actual public decentralized blockchain the government will be more powerful than Bitcoin itself. With that being said, I don't think it's going to happen.
Of course, no one wants that transparency because.
Oh, of course not. You start pocket watching. That's how JFK's happen. Like literally, it is how assassinations happen. I mean, you know, you're talking about the highest level. I mean, this college scam right here. It's crazy. We're seeing the college scam. You know, parents in Hollywood, you know, send their kids to school $500K pop, whoever. And literally, how did that leak, right? Who didn't get paid last weekend? So we're talking about some of these, you know.
Oh, you know what it was? It was one of the kids got to the school. One of the recruits got to the school and be like, "I'm a recruit. I ain't never played no." You know what I'm saying? Like recruit. I can't even swim.
Right.
You know, water polo. I can't even swim.
Listen, I got peanut allergies. I'm not getting in this water. With that being said, Republican leader McCarthy proposes blockchain transparency in government. Bitcoin Zay. What is this Republican leader advocating for here?
Oh, yeah. He actually asked, why would we wait around and why wouldn't we institute blockchain on our own?
Well, he's like, well, we can control it before it gets crazy.
Exactly. It's like, as technology continues to change our life, let's make sure Congress has the same ability to do it to make this place more effective, more efficient, and most importantly, more accountable. And one of the things I want to state too is that if you're watching right now, no matter what group you are associated with, religion, race, creed, if you have a cause and you need to take it to a politician, you should start demanding, do you have a blockchain platform? After a while, when they start hearing that over the next few years, and nobody's going to vote for you unless you have a blockchain platform, that's how this will happen. It's not going to be him actually talking to the US reps. Hey guys, let's do this. Let's expose ourselves transparently. Right. That's not going to happen. I am glad he brought it up. So shout out to him for having, you know, the gonage to say that to them. Right. But I'm telling you, you're going to have to actually reach out and say, hey, do you have a blockchain platform? No, not get my vote. And once enough people do that, our group, whatever, my vegan group or my yoga group, if we want to have this enacted the same way the college scam people paid for it, you can do the same with your voice and say, hey, we're not voting for anything unless it's blockchain enabled. So he actually stated, he gave a couple examples of bills, for example, the talent bill, the tested ability to leverage Exceptional National Talent Act, and he also has a bug bounty program for the Department of Homeland Security, two things that should be on the blockchain for you to see, vote on, or see what other people voted on for.
You know, very interesting, I would say. The one, I'm going to give you a mini conspiracy theory for 2 minutes about blockchain and Trump. All right. So you guys know, hey man, like, look, this is real life. This is real life, but this is, I'll call it a conspiracy theory for now. Now, when it proves to be right and you guys understand one of the things that happened, the one thing that you have noticed that you never heard is anything about Bitcoin and Russia regarding the election.
Yeah.
Senate Intelligence Committee is looking at Bitcoin, Russia, and the election in terms of how they were using crypto, including mining groups, mining to create the crypto, they were mining to get the coin. The coin went on a run. You know, some people say Tether had a part to play in the run up, right? They say that wasn't really fundamentals in the market that got Bitcoin to the 20K mark and all that sort of fun stuff and everything else like that. But, you know, that's one of the, I think is going to be one of the original sins of crypto. They're going to discover that crypto, Bitcoin in particular, and miners, and the link between Russia and the miners, and the ads and the attack on American democracy. If that ever leaks, but I know the Senate Intelligence Committee was looking at that. So I'll call it right now, I'm calling it a conspiracy theory, meaning it has no basis in theory or fact. But just when I say to you, white nationalists, Trump, Bitcoin, election, and that comes out because we all know that Bitcoin is not anonymous. So when the truth comes to light, just remember that I floated a conspiracy theory on your show. And
so wait, what exactly are you saying? You're saying Russia used Bitcoin to fund the campaign?
Yeah, and a lot of our friendly white nationalists, crypto friends.
I think that's, yeah, you gotta be careful with that because it's everybody using crypto right now. That's like saying South Koreans use crypto. It's like, well, everybody.
That's not what I'm saying. Okay, I'm saying that the United States Senate Intelligence Committee is looking into white nationalists using Bitcoin to fund the campaigns, the Russian campaigns, and all the other sorts of stuff. So remember, I'm floating as a conspiracy theory, but I know better.
No,